If this is the first time listening to us, welcome, guys.
Welcome to our podcast.
Neighbors. And we're not talking about the Burbs. The Burbs was kind of cool. I mean, they were nosy. Did you ever see that movie?
No, I don't even know what you're saying.
You don't?
Burbs?
Burbs. The Burbs, you know. No? You don't know?
Is that like, you know how kids these days have abbreviation? Was that like abbreviation for suburbs?
No, it was a movie.
I know, but was it abbreviation for like suburb?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. So they, Tom Hanks was in it, and he was on vacation, and he started noticing everything going on in his neighborhood. There was this one neighbor that just stood out, and so...
Is that us? Is that us in the story? Sorry.
There's this one that just stood out, and they started nosing. Mm-hmm. Started being nosy, and then all this stuff started.
Guys, we know we give you disclaimers. We're not even outside this time. If you heard it's the squirrels. They fucking target us. Just so you know, if you hear that, that's the squirrels around here. Okay, back to your story.
And so, they nosed around, and then there was this one house, and they were going after this one house.
Because they were different?
And and it started, and come to find out, a long story short, after everything, I mean, there was some bad shit going on, but...
Yeah, I don't think I watched this movie.
Yeah, it was a movie a long time ago.
Interesting. I mean, I remember you telling me when we were trying to look at houses to buy, and you were like calling it something, like certain neighborhoods, you would call them something because they all looked the same.
Stepford Wives.
Yes. And that is like from a movie thing, right?
Right.
So I kind of am more familiar with that. That shit creeps me out.
When everything is the same.
Yes, when the house, the garages, to the color, everything.
Unfortunately, when we bought our house, I mean, I could see where the Stepford Wives could have.
Oh, this was totally a little bit ago an HOA area. Like, you had to have shit a certain way, for sure.
Yeah. Well, not so much anymore.
I mean, I guess if we wanted to, we could ask our neighbor that, because they've lived here forever.
Yeah, well,
we could ask and be like, what was the neighborhood like a long time ago? Was it like this? We should talk to them about that. We'll maybe do a part 2.
So neighborhood harassment is a thing. Harassment comes in many forms. It's not just what you would think. Right. But neighborhood harassment is a thing.
Yep.
And there's many components to what can occur, and the end result sometimes is not a good thing.
Yeah. And I would say for as long as we've lived in our neighborhood, there's been little things, I would say, but now there's this big thing. And I think it's like the first big thing that I think that's ever happened to this neighborhood. And I don't want to say that ever.
Before we do story time,
yes,
I just want to tell you a couple things that are actually factual, and then Joel's going to speak from her heart because,
Well, first I want to quote, before we get into this, a wise person, and it just came out, mind your business, bitch. Like, mind your business. If it doesn't pertain to you, and if somebody's not harming any other person, mind your fucking business, bitch. Quoted from Will.i.am and Britney Spears.
You just, yeah.
It's up in there.
Down like that?
Yeah, literally, it just keeps going in my head every time. Mind your business, bitch.
So neighborhood harassment refers to the action that is intended to annoy or threaten an individual's peace and quiet. Peace and quiet. Let's remember that.
I think it's even getting further than harassment at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
because it's even more than... Oh.
So it could take in many forms. Verbal abuse is a thing. Mm-hmm. Property damage is a thing.
By the way, when we talk about words, we don't believe in the sticks and stones, don't break my bones, the words never hurt me thing. Words hurt.
Yeah, words hurt. Okay. So what the result can do is it can create a hostile living environment. It could cause emotional distress.
Mm-hmm.
It could even lead to physical harm. And this is September. This is Suicide Awareness Month, and we are going to be talking about different things.
Yes. I mean, we always talk about mental health, but specifically suicide this month needs to be brought into awareness.
Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to go too much into the definition. Everybody knows what harassment is, but neighborhood harassment is a Class A misdemeanor in our area.
Oregon.
Yeah. So there's different types of patterns. You can't just have the occurrence happen once. You can't just have it once. If it's once, it's just like a thing.
I hit my knee, sorry.
If it's once, it's just a one-time occurrence. This has to be a repeating pattern, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the patterns, it could be to an individual or it could be to a group. So it's not just like, okay, it's just one person. It could also be multiple people.
Mm-hmm.
They could, these individuals that are harassing neighbors, it could be in public. It could be private. They could use, inappropriate language, all of the above. Again, the occurrence has to happen multiple times before it to be harassment. It could be embarrassing for the victim. It could lead to them being isolated. It could be emotionally drained on them.
Worried for their safety.
And the things that could happen, after it happens a couple times, such behaviors can develop into like spreading rumors about people. Constant complaining about noise is one thing that is a common thing. Making up stories about somebody in the rumor mill. And we'll tell you a story time here in a minute.
But the thing with ours is it's a factual story. It's not just like a mythical story.
Mm-hmm. So this impact on neighborhood harassment can have a big strain on somebody's everyday life if you're the victim of it. It can impact mental health issues on the victim. It can bring fear that was never, you could just start having fear. You can start feeling intimidated. And you can start having a built-up of anxiety and depression over a period of time. Again, isolation. And then you can have a repeat of trauma. So you can start developing PTSD from this as a result of the harassment. So it could also have like this social isolation of whether or not it was like on just in your neighborhood where you don't want to go outside to if it happened, if they did something on social media. There's, so much technology out there that, hey. So what could we do to prevent this? Of course.
Mind your business, bitch.
One thing is to approach the people that are doing it. That's one thing. Making sure that they know that that's not okay behavior. If it gets to a point where you can't tolerate it, there are many ways, whether social media, you could report it to that platform. There's also, if it gets so bad, sometimes the police have to be involved. So a lot of times it has to come to that, right? And we're going to tell you story time. Story time with Sara and Juel. Story time.
Welcome to the shit show.
Welcome to the shit show. When we bought our house in 2019, this was a great neighborhood.
Still pretty much is, I would say.
We live on the backside of school.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I didn't say, I gotta cut that out or something. we live in an area that people view as not the best area, but our neighborhood is a pretty good area.
Right.
We have all sorts of people. We got elderly, we got people with kids, we got people who don't have kids, we got all sorts of it. And so we've experienced stuff in our neighborhood that was natural disaster stuff that was kind of chaotic and crazy, and like people were starting to come together and we got to see that sides of things. So nothing really was going off. Like,
but when you mention that, I don't remember.
No,
the people that were
no.
I don't remember them getting involved.
No, we never ever. But one thing I do want to state is when we first moved in here, one of these people we are going to talk about gifted us a flower pot thingy
when we bought our house.
Thing. But also did our other neighbors that we are going to talk about that this is affecting also. They gave us a delicious treat that we still think of and remember from this day.
Homemade cookies, man.
Mm-hmm.
Homemade cookies.
But we got really close with our neighbors when the natural disasters happened. Yep. There was no heat, no power. So we were communicating, making sure they had everything they needed, all this kind of stuff. And we have still their information. And like, we still make sure when little things happen, they're okay.
Right.
So, I'm just going to get into it. Well, no, I'm going to give a little more background. Same neighbors that gifted the flower plant to my mother. I wouldn't say for me, but my mother. My child's bus would pick her up in front of their house. And I get if children were picking flowers or picking stuff and they're like, no, I'm trying to keep it, whatever, da-da-da. I get that. So they have this shared rock path, if you make sense. It's just a kind of chunks of bigger rocks, not tiny rocks. And kids being kindergarten age, so fucking 6 to 7 years old, see rocks and they're like, freaking rocks, cool. The neighbors that it was shared with, no problem. Even greeted the kids like, oh, you guys going to the bus, going to school? Like they're seeing, like they're interacting, being cool. One day, these bitches, again, mind you, none of these kids, because I was there the whole time, picking up these rocks or anything, they like to walk on them. They were like, can you not have your kids walk on our rocks, please? And I was just like, okay. They have kids themselves. And so I was like, okay.
Indoor kids, you mean? They don't go outside.
Yeah, they don't go outside. So I was like, okay, whatever. And then it just kind of, the looks they would give us. And so me and another parent, throughout the couple years, we were like, we're just going to stand in front of our house. You guys can be in front of our house. I don't care. You guys can be walking on our driveway. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
So the bus stop kind of moved to our spot via communicating that with the bus driver and all of that. So that's that background of that. So I already have like a feeling of how these people are, okay? These people also associate themselves and are friendly with a neighbor that has identified with Blue Lives Matter, and me, and I know my mother, we don't believe that exists. Blue lives don't matter. I mean, you're a fucking cop. It's a color. It's not a person. It's a job. So they are friendly with them. So I already was like, no, having bad feelings. And then this situation happened. I'm in my child's room, changing them, getting them dressed. I hear yelling. And I'm like, what the heck is happening? And I look up and I see one of my fellow neighbors, the one that's closer to my age. I could tell, very emotional, starting to cry. And I could hear, the moment I heard, posted my address and then them condoning it, saying, the police told me to. I was like, no, this is very bad. What's happening? I went and got my partner and was like, something's going down out there. I feel like you need to be out there for something. So we went out there. He was listening for a little bit. And then these people, gang of people, ganging up on an elderly woman, yelling at her.
Yep. And, you know, she is an elderly woman. She doesn't like to be called that. But, I mean, she is an elderly woman. That's her home.
Yes. Been her home for a long time.
And I start pulling up right around the time Juel's partner shows up and is in the street. And I was like, okay, this is
and
odd.
And once he saw that happen, he was like, no, you don't do that. He went over there.
Yep.
And then you were driving up.
I drove up and I just walked into the shit show at the time that this was going down. And I did see my neighbor, the elderly woman, out there walking away. So what Simon did, and his whole intention, was to get the pressure off of her.
Yep. He kept telling her to go try and sit down and go relax. It's not healthy for her to be around it.
Yeah. And she had just overcome being
sick,
ill. Yeah. And, you know, so it was very hostile when I arrived.
Yes.
And I had to go walk down there because Juel had to attend to the children.
Yes.
And I had to walk down there to get Simon away because the last thing we needed was for something bad to happen to Simon.
So the younger woman who's closer to my age, their partner was actively on the phone with the police.
Cops, yeah.
And they were advising, because the way they're being, they are just trying to egg everybody on and add more fuel to the fire. So they were saying, hey, everybody, just step away. So we were getting my partner and their partner, come on, we got to separate.
Yeah.
They're just saying stuff.
But let me tell you, when I walked into the situation, I swear, maybe I'm wrong, but when I walked up, there was like 6, 7 people over there.
And I'm
yelling at the elderly lady.
Yes. And I'm going to just tell you my favorite part of like the walk away.
Oh, snap.
Because we didn't know it really, because we were kind of just.
And so, I came into the last minute,
yeah,
you know.
So my partner was filling us in. And so I'm going to say the leader, Karen, of the group. I'm just going to say that.
There's Karen 1, Karen 2, Karen 1,
yeah.
Karen 2, Karen 1.
But
Karen
there's
2.
one that's on top of my list right now. They go to walk away and they sigh. They go, and then my partner's like, yeah, that's right, sigh. And they go, you don't like my sigh? And Simon goes, no.
Well, the point of it, Simon was in the right, because he was started taking the heat for the elderly woman, but at the same time, he was making points that were actually true facts. And at the same time, he's also like, this, with everything going on, this is what you're focusing on.
What you're worried about?
You're focusing on a car?
Which we hadn't gotten detail about. So the background of this argument is our direct neighbor has a vehicle that is loud, and I wouldn't say super loud. I would say it.
Well, it has like a muffler on it,
right?
That, you know,
right?
And that might not be our cup of tea, but that doesn't matter if it's our cup of tea or not. That's their cup of tea,
right? Exactly.
So it doesn't even matter.
So for people who are trying to make it a bigger thing, yeah, you guys could find it annoying because, again, it's not your thing and bothers you. But don't be jamming up the fucking police lines.
Right.
And then when they actually legally prove it to you from a decibel reader, that it's within legal limits. And if it is so loud, this person would have been pulled over by now.
And what we found out, being with our neighbor being on the phone with the cops, that there was no sound ordinance for that.
Because, well, first they did it anyways for peace of mind for them, and that wasn't good enough. That wasn't good enough that they proved they got their own decibel. And then supposedly Karen number 1's husband, when the person went to work, got a reading and it was like way out of the thing, and that's not a real decibel reading.
Right. So,
which, and in reality, here it's not, and he's legally on public street. It's not Karen's property.
Right.
So, but Karen number 2 has teenage children, and those teenage children are fighting those battles for them, and they shouldn't be getting involved. So there you go. That's where you see that's coming from the parents.
Right.
So one evening, I think you guys know I got health issues. I'm insomnia. I don't sleep. Okay. I'm up. So one night I can hear car coming down. It's a little loud. And I'm like, who the fuck's coming in my neighborhood like this right now? So I get up into the window. I'm telling you, they purposely start blaring music right in front of my house and then the neighbors that are next to us that is affected by this. The neighbor's child is pretty much sticking their head out the window, flipping them the bird. And I'm like, ooh, we're being petty. Okay, we'll get petty. I really wanted to get petty. But I didn't. But I did tell my neighbor.
But at that point, when we did tell her, we started I think that very next day, we started our own neighborhood meeting.
We have so they have their little fucking meetings up in that corner. We're starting our own group.
We're starting our own group.
It's the shit show group, I guess.
It's the shit show group, yeah.
But, yeah, So
the thing that we didn't really tell you about this whole thing of not just ganging up on an elderly woman, but what they did
this isn't even the start too, because the Karen 1 got their animals taken away.
Yeah, they did.
Their animal that they've had for that animal's whole life, they got a puppy.
Yeah.
And they were 10 years old and wasn't aggressive. It was old. So with us, we know how old dogs can appear. And so they took their dog away. But we lived right next to them, and yeah.
So the straw what these neighbors did is not just harass this elderly woman. They wouldn't confront the person who actually had the car. They were scared of that person.
Because they had tattoos.
Yeah. So do we. We have tattoos too, man.
This is where I'm saying, because we try to fly under the radar. We represent ourselves, but we fly under the radar. At this point, we're saying, fuck you. We're going to be shining bright like a diamond and showing who we are. And you may not love it, but enough's fuck enough.
Yeah. So what they ended up doing is on a public social media platform, they took to social media and posted my neighbor's address.
Saying a bunch of false things. For one, they don't even know the situation.
Yeah.
They're saying that they are renters. They have no idea who they are and how they are related to anybody. Right. So, it's like, again, mind your business if you don't know what you're talking about. But a lot of false things were being said and all this kind of blah, 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 blah. The comments, I would say, and them condoning those comments was the most scariest part of it all.
Yeah.
Because then that's where you realize, yes, it is horrible. This is happening to them. We defending them. But then when you have this realization, we have this close-knit community that we have in this neighborhood. It's been going good. And you are trying to bring negative, bad people
into our neighborhood
and having crimes happen.
Mm-hmm.
There are people, and the comments got removed, but they're saved. We have them somewhere.
Yeah,
so
we screenshotted it.
We have it. There's people who are saying, take care of it yourself with a gun emoji. Then there's people who are saying, spread nails all over the thing to pop their tires. At this point, it's the community. It's going to affect the community. Like, the things that people were saying were horrifying. And There are children,
Yep.
very young children that live there.
And I, after everything was like
Right.
settling down,
This was what's bad is you don't realize all this is happening in
right,
front
in
yard.
front of their house.
And you don't know that these kids are watching through the window.
Yeah, the kids were watching through the window. And so I went to go see how grandma was doing through the whole situation, because when I entered, I was tried to listen to what Simon had to say. I listened to what my neighbor said. He was still on the phone with the police officers.
Actively
the whole time. And so I went to go check on her, and I walked in, and the poor babies, they were still crying. They were scared. And poor grandma, I mean, I was more concerned, like, I want you guys to be okay.
Because we know how stress does. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't let this negativity get to you, which, that's easier for me to say because it's not happening to me. But
And they have also harassed this woman by calling her in the morning, waking her up, and harassing and yelling at her.
Yep.
All the time, where they had to block the number and then they started calling again. It was freaking, whoa. This is fucking ridiculous.
So,
hold on. He's on the phone, right?
Right.
And and I heard it for myself. They said, we have asked them to stop calling you and stop. And we've asked them to stop calling us. Because in this post, they will say the police aren't doing anything. And that is because they aren't doing anything illegal.
They're not doing
They may be doing
illegal.
something that annoys you, but it's not illegal. Like, leave them the flip alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trying to practice not cussing. I'm going to be out of preschool soon. But it's just like, people don't know people's lives. You're adding stress to them when they already have a lot of stress going on.
They already have it enough.
And I'm just going to tell you, these people got a flipping Tesla and they got all this shit. So it's like, if you can afford a Tesla, then okay, buy them a new fucking car then. Because that's the hands they have dealt. And throughout this whole headache, they have put in thousands of dollars into their car just to please them.
Yep.
So at this point, the cops are like, stop. Like, we've told them to stop. And then you're in there with them. And then things were already diffused, all this stuff. So he gets told that they just called Karen number one.
Karen number
and
one.
was like, we have told them to stop or they will be charged with something. Like, I think it was what you were, the thing you were reading off. The misdemeanor, whatever.
It's a class A.
Yeah, that.
Misdemeanor.
So right after we get the info of that, you see Karen 1 going to Karen 2's house, meeting up.
Oh, snap, yeah.
And I'm just like, ooh. They go inside and I'm just like, okay, yeah, we're creating our own fucking neighborhood watch group over here.
And then later on after that, I guess they were, because, we had to keep an eye on what was happening, that day. They all started having like a little huddle down there at the end of the cul-de-sac.
Mm-hmm. And so we started seeing some shit. We saw something. We're like, oh, okay, you're talking to so-and-so. So you guys are together. Because we got in window that supposedly there was a group of houses.
Right.
But at this point, it was just these two people. But then we started seeing as other people coming out, and we're like, oh, it's just this whole fucking corner right here of like maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 houses. We have a yard person. You're going to hear a blower.
You're going to hear a blower, but hey, that's the background. No, that's our life.
Yes. But so then we figured it out. We're like, oh, it's these people.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, it's the Blue Lives Matter. So then me and my friend, we actually came to a conclusion. We're like, oh, are they going to start? Because they are so in hierarchy of our police. Are they going to start being angry against our police officers because they feel like they're not doing what they want them to?
Well, there's a law, so there's a law being done.
And these police, specifically in our area, I want to say this without the noise, so I'm going to try and wait. Okay, they're going down. So The police officers over here in our area have their fucking hands and heads and fucking everything full. There are women and children being taken every single day. There is shootings every single day. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Shootings were happening here in Portland, but it is more in a rapid rate where it's in other areas where it's never happened before. So when I'm meaning like, people want to say this about Portland. They say, oh, the crime rate is high only because the media is just pushing it out there more. We've always had crime here. What I have to say to that is it is happening in areas where it's never happened. Yeah. When I've grown up in different areas and I'm like, oh, fuck, this looked different back then. This was like this different and all this kind of stuff, whatever. And I'm just like, this is getting bad, really, really bad. And I don't blame the people. I don't. Yeah. I blame our government. I blame laws that be passed that are bad or them neglecting us trying to get laws to pass for our safety. So all of that has to do an effect.
Yeah. But I mean, we're right now trying to break apart the Measure 110 because, you know, you have to have the resources. There is no resources. We'll put that. We teamed up with Valley Ray to do a petition to reverse Measure 110, but we have a plan of how to split the treatment facilities because they kind of backed us into a corner on that. But long story short, I'll put that link down there.
So I know I don't watch the Kardashians, but I know everybody's gonna know the situation. But you know how everybody was like, Kim's the detective. Like the sisters would always go to her if they wanted to figure out information, right? That's me.
Yeah.
So I found out that care number 1 is an oncologist.
No, well, I think she's in research, right?
Mm-hmm. No? She's an oncologist.
Oh, snap. Snap.
And so I was like, she deals with sick people. Mm-hmm. How could she allow, when she is working in the medical field, when we know that mental health is top high in crucial moments right now, how the fuck is she going to add that on top of like other people? Like they don't know what they're going through. So, and I'm going to just say this. The shit they were bitching about, I was awake one morning and I'm telling you, this guy is being as respectful as he most possibly can. He rolls that shit down and around the thing in neutral, okay? And then starts it. It's all of fucking 5 fucking seconds. And I'm telling you, like, you both have children and you don't get up 5 seconds because your kids wake you up in the middle of the night and you can't go the fuck back to sleep. Get the fuck over yourself. Come the fuck on. They're not partying. They don't have music going for hours. It's 2 to 5 fucking seconds. Get the fuck over it.
And they're going to work and they're trying to earn an income.
Exactly. Grow the fuck up. Figure out what issues that are priorities.
So do you think we were wrong for getting involved?
We
didn't get involved right away.
No. We were on their side. We've had their back and like we've communicated that like, no, you're fine. Because they asked if like we had it. We're like, no, it's your fucking car. That's what it is. And I actually have people I know people have ladder cars, and I was like, well, let me just bring them into this neighborhood just to piss you off. Anyways, no. But the thing that I think bothers me the most, like I talk about the mental health and all this stuff, but are the kids.
Yeah.
They made the kids not feel safe to where the kids had to leave.
They had to physically leave.
They couldn't be at the home because
they were scared, man.
The family felt so threatened that they didn't want their children there because of the comments that were being said on social media.
Correct.
And their address being posted and the post not being removed.
Yeah. And I'm
just going to say, I tried joining the group just to see what the fuck is up. I'm just going to say, fuck you guys for denying me and not letting me be there. I didn't want to be a part of your group in the first place, but fuck you, because you blocked me before I could even do anything. And then my mom was like she's like, no, fuck you, I don't want to be a part of this group too. And same thing happened with my partner, but then it's like we found out they had the Blue Lives Matter thing, and I was like, fuck you, I don't want to be a part of it, but I only wanted to be in it so I could block it and ban the post.
Yeah, so we could report the post.
Mm-hmm. Because it was posted in a group, you can't see and view the post.
Right. Well, we have screenshots of it.
Yes,
yeah.
But that is personal. We're not going to share that because that has our neighbor's address, which is not okay to post.
It's like a passive aggressive kind of behavior, and it's a pattern that we're seeing quite often with different people, especially as I don't think that I'm not going to make excuses for our neighbors, but I feel like this pattern is happening not just in our neighborhood, but it's happening quite a bit because there's a lot of chaos going on in our state, in our city, in our town. And I don't know if that's a way that they feel like they can control a situation. But here's the thing.
They think they're the leaders of the fucking neighborhood, and they're not. And I've been saying this. I'm going to kick that bitch off her high horse. I'm just saying, okay, I don't know. You guys kind of know me, but you don't really know me. So if you cross paths and if you mess with somebody that I deeply care about, which this specific one, Karen number one, the way they were talking to my partner, and I couldn't be there because I was with my children, but I could hear it all and I heard it all.
And she was trying to have her kids not get subjected to it.
So now she's made herself enemy number one on my list. And my friend will tell you this. I will come for you in not the best way. I will hurt your feelings, and I don't even have to cuss at you because I can talk to you like an adult.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing is Juel will talk to you as an adult, and she will not come at you at a violent way.
Nope.
She will not come at you, but she will lay the facts out, and she will do it in a way.
And it's going to make you feel like shit.
Yeah. If you're a human being.
Because this is the thing. We have said this just the other day. We know we're privileged. And that's the whole thing that people get irritated about when you talk to other people that are privileged. And we're like, no, we know we're privileged. You need to understand that you're privileged.
Yep.
And the system that you're trying to take advantage of because you think you're privileged.
Yeah.
Fucking hey, dude. Oh my God.
So the one thing to do for a neighbor who's harassing somebody is to bring awareness. That is a key thing. Bring awareness. Number 2, make sure they know it's not okay behavior. It's not okay behavior. Number 3, you always got to check in with those that it's happening to because it's a stressor. It's an emotional, it can, triggers can happen.
And I have to say, I think there was a week after the situation happened, and the elderly couple who does live, they walk around the neighborhood quite a bit, and they also take their grandchildren to go play. They were walking when me and my partner were outside, and they stopped us and they talked to us, and they wanted to say how much they appreciated us as neighbors and coming into this neighborhood and how much we've been there to support them.
Yeah.
And that meant a lot.
And she gave me a hug, and
this is my thing. And it's totally okay. I have different views than she does.
Yeah,
and that's okay.
That's okay.
We can understand that we're human beings,
right?
And you have feelings,
right?
Just because you have different views, that doesn't make you a bad person.
No.
It's the action that people do.
Correct.
And they've never done a horrible action, whereas these people have. And so I'm just like, dude. I don't know about you, but like in a good way. I'm existing to just fucking annoy them now because I know their views and what and I am part of LGBTQ. They fucking hate it. We are fucking putting that in their face.
Yeah, we're not taking our flag down until some of these rights happen. You know, it may be flying all. We may have to get new
for
flags
the rest of our fucking lives, and that would be so sad if I had to be up there for the rest of our lives because we shouldn't have to be fighting for human decent rights.
No, we shouldn't have to be fighting for women's rights. We shouldn't have to be fighting for Black Lives Matter.
Nope.
We shouldn't have to be doing that.
We shouldn't have to be fighting for gender affirming care.
Nope.
In any state, all states should be all gender affirming care. And the people who don't recognize and realize what gender affirming care are these women who get gender affirming care.
Yeah.
And like gender affirming care, it's like a haircut, guys. A haircut. You know that, right? Like you guys don't recognize, like you, and then do you know they're upset for being called cis? They're like, we don't like that. You're insulting us. I'm like, that's the definition. You are that. You are a straight person. That's what you are.
So all month long, we're going to be focusing on different things. Yes, we focused on harassment on our neighbor, but we did that for a point. You are creating chaos when you do that.
And you don't know what that person is going through in the inside.
And you don't know what that person is going through on the inside. Suicide Awareness Month is all month long. Education is a must when it comes to that. There's different forms of anxiety, depression. There's different things that happen, and it can lead to a path in somebody's life if they're not strong enough to unlive themselves. And we are going to be pushing this so hard because bullying needs to come to a halt. Harassment needs to come to a halt. Being kind to others. And this is not just bullying in schools. This is bullying of just who you are.
I literally think that if we could all, as a community, and I'm meaning that as the United States, recognize that human beings are not supposed to be the same. Literally, yes, I came from my mother. We are not the same. We may look the same, but we are not the same.
No.
We are different people.
Yep.
We enjoy different things. We may have similar things we like. There's some things we do like that is the same, but we also have differences.
Yep.
So that's what I also would want us to get to a better future is recognizing like the young people where you have to be like, oh, I want to be just like that. And then you try to dress just like them. And then you grow up and you're like, fuck, I want to figure out who I am.
Right.
So it's like we need to instill in young minds to allow them to be creative and be themselves.
Yeah. And one thing that I'm going to be doing from now on, whether I like it or Juel likes it or not, when I'm recording the show, all of our screw ups are going to be on here because we're a human being. Mm-hmm. Before I would edit it for you and do all of that, I'm not going to do that. This is our lives. This is how we're feeling. This is the raw moment we have.
And you guys are going to see us grow and develop.
Right.
Because this is the thing. We know we're never old enough to learn and grow.
Right, right.
As human beings.
As human beings.
Education is key.
Education is key. Today we're rocking suicide awareness colors. I got lavender. Damn. Juel's got teal. What does it say on the back of this, Juel?
Here. It says the semicolon symbolizes a continuation of someone's life.
Say it again into the mic.
The semicolon symbolizes a continuation of somebody's life.
That is correct. You can get these on Bonfire on our merch.
And I'm just going to say, guys, we were trying out new material stuff. This one's pretty comfy.
Yeah, this one is comfy. Yeah. I like this one.
I like it. It's if you guys like the looser look, that more baggy look, this is what you want to go for instead of that tight conforming. It's super comfy, cozy.
I like the baggy.
I do too.
The baggy.
I think I don't like the tight conforming ones ever.
Yeah. I mean, and we did we are trying out new little dealies.
And even with the shirts, like I think we pretty much liked a lot of the materials that we got this time.
Yeah, the T-shirts though are a little bit thinner than what I was used to on our other one.
It wasn't, and there's the one material that is softer. I think it's the Comfort Cares.
Mm-hmm.
That one's soft.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
highly recommend it.
Highly recommend it.
And highly recommend do not harass your neighbors.
Yeah. Especially the elderly.
Because the cops will tell you to stop or you will be charged.
Yeah. Misdemeanor. Mm-hmm. Class A.
That sounds so like it sounds like you're saying Mr. Meaner. Like it literally sounds like it. Like Mr. Meaner.
You're being a misdemeanor.
Yep.
You're being a misdemeanor right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes you got to break it down, like bring it back to kindergarten, break out the crayons.
Okay, this is side note, and you said you're keeping this. You know how we were like, corn dogs, we want to make a corn dog thing, right?
Yeah.
Misdemeanors, wieners. Dude, it just came to me. It's just a little thought that we've been running by. But
just a little food for thought.
Yeah.
What do we think of Jules' hair?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're going spooky Halloween.
I got purple. It's not coming up very well.
You can kind of see it with the light.
With the light, but it is purple. I'm rocking it.
Inspiration, Michael Myers.
Yeah. You know, we tried to go. We took off and went to the beach real quick. We tried to go to what was the camp?
It was the camp. It was called Camp something, but it was the one that they filmed Jason.
Couldn't go. It was blocked out for
and before.
Because,
oh my god, my partner camped there, and I'm like, no, you didn't. And I was like, did anything happen?
I wanted to go, man. And they wouldn't let us in. It's not to the public, man.
Yeah, but it was weird because it was whenever we went to
not anymore. I wonder if people just started going, no, nay.
Maybe people were discovering stuff because he was sitting there and he's telling me that it was a church thing, and I'm like, okay. And then we just also got just the word of knowing like a church group had just robbed one of those convenience stores, and I'm like, so I was like, are these people bad or like what's happening over here? But we were able to drive through it, and it was fucking. I was like, get me out of here! It's creepy vibes.
And I was gonna walk her through it, man. I was getting so excited. I was getting pumped and all that. They wouldn't let us in, man.
They have
can't go in
in the dirt, and when before you have like in the little wooden. What do you call that?
It's a creepy gate.
Yeah. They have a wood in the shape of a cross.
Yep.
And he's told me that's been there and that's old as fuck. And I was like, what if there's somebody under there? Like, what if there is a person under there? That's like where my brain goes. Because, we're the woo-woo, we're the witchy woo-woo.
We're the woo-woos. Yeah.
And this is literally what our conversation looked like with Valley Ray the other day. We were talking about one topic, and he was probably like, how are you guys off topic? We were asking him about Bob Barker. Then we were like, Jason. And then what else were we talking about?
I don't know. And he's
Michael Myers.
He's like, poor Valley. He went downtown. He does. I just got to tell you this. Poor Valley Ray. He went downtown, and he was recording. And some he's talking. He was showing. He's trying to find this person, and he's downtown, and you know how they are. They're on using drugs.
Keep Portland weird.
And all of that. And people may assume that he's looking through the camera, and he's not, right? So he's actually having a conversation because this person just saw this person he's looking for. So he's like trying to have a conversation. Can you take me to them? Blah, blah, blah,
I think the only time he looks at it is when he was looking at the comments.
Yeah. Well, no, I think he looks at it sometimes, but I don't think he's really looking like it's facing there. So, some inappropriate skinnage was happening. And so he's trying to get a hold of me, like Sarah.
Like it was totally unintentionally. Like he didn't mean to film it.
No, he didn't mean to. So now we got to cut it out. So he's trying to frantically, like, Sarah, I need your help, man. I need your help. We got to cut this out.
Well, because he does it live. So once his live, it posts after his live. So then he's like, okay, I got to take it down and fix this.
I got to take it down and fix it. But he doesn't know how to do it. So he's trying to get a hold of me to help. And here I am. Bob Barkering it up, Jason, Michael Myers. He's like, what the fuck are you guys doing over there?
Welcome to the shit show.
Welcome to the shit show. That's right.
By the way, got this at the beach.
Got this at the beach. Yeah.
Probably the fave buy that I got.
And then before, we're trying to like get back into town, you know, after all of this happened, because, you know, this happened with our neighbor. Next day we went out of town. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. And then we go out of town, we're gone, and we come back. I'm trying to slip under the radar, right? Slip under the radar and let my dog out, do all that. Freaking gate and doors open. My dog goes running out and starts going after another dog. And I'm like, okay, so much for like going under the radar. I mean, she's pretty mouthy. She's not really, you know, nippy. But she doesn't like people. She doesn't like people she doesn't know. And so...
No, she just likes us.
Yeah. She's got major anxiety. She's a 20/20 dog. She's a big dog.
And I think it's also like I call it the little dog syndrome.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, because Chaos was little and she didn't like anybody either.
Yeah. So I tried so much for me slipping under the radar. Luckily, nothing happened. Like, you know, nothing happened to either dog. But
they're just she's very protective of her.
She's very mouthy.
Well, she's protective of her territory.
Mm-hmm.
So. And she also assumes the street is her territory, which is great.
Well, anything around the front of our house is her territory.
If she could see it, she's like, I could see you. Get the fuck out.
And you're not supposed to be here. You're not my peeps, okay? You're not my peeps.
It's literally like, have you seen that funny video that went viral of the guy who was like matching his dog's energy because he's watching the dog, like watching other people and dogs. He's like, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. And then he barks, and then the owner barks, and the dog was freaking confused because he was like pretending to be a dog with him. We should do that with Luna. Mm-hmm. When she's like freaking out, we should go up and like bark like her and see what the fuck she does, and be like, "Oh, you're barking with me."
Should we record that while we do that? Should we bark at the window?
I can find the video and we'll share it since this is a reference from. We'll find it and share it. It's funny.
So let's remember, even though we don't agree with everything that people do within our neighborhood, if they're not doing a crime, if it's not a crime, there's no reason to go after individuals within your neighborhood and treat them with disrespect and continue to harass them throughout the years. You know, you're creating a hostile living environment, which is not okay.
See, and again, there's a person who has a Blue Lives Matter. That fucking takes me off. But I'm not going up to him and be like, can you take that down? Because I don't like that. And I could. But
yeah, I mean.
I'm not going out of my way.
A lot of people, you know, like things that other people don't like.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not hurting anybody. You know, I mean, there's nothing illegal being done.
And that's what I said in the beginning.
Except for the harassment now.
That's what I said. As long as nobody is harming or hurting somebody else, mind your business.
As long as, you know, you don't have like a whole bunch of drugs going on, you know, there's a difference. There's a difference.
Yeah, this is the if you see something, say something kind of thing. If you hear something, shut the fuck up.
Well, unless it's something like harmful.
I'm talking about noise.
Oh, yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
I mean, we have to live through their dang fireworks going off all the time, man, in our neighborhood.
One complaint they had was our neighbors were smoking on their property.
Right.
And they said, can you not smoke because it's coming into our windows? Shut your fucking windows. You're a fucking smoker.
It's blowing out.
My daughter's got asthma. And then she has to come inside when your shit fucking... So should I go over to your house and say, knock, knock, knock? Can you stop fucking smoking your shit? Because my daughter can't be outside when you're doing that. Like, fuck you guys. Like, I literally think I won't because I'm not them. It's like, but it's like the old Juel would match energies. And I'd be like, But at this point, I'm just going to shine bright like a diamond.
Shine bright like a diamond.
So is my mother, and we're just going to be ourselves, but just louder.
A little witchy. We're gonna throw a little witchy in.
We're going to let them know who the fuck we are.
A little witchy. Little witchy.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have heard us talk about our woo-woo stuff.
So we come back, and then...
and this is the thing, actually, what they don't realize, because we are woo-woos, the karma that they are giving out is going to come right back at them in a bad way.
I know,
because we know you can't do that.
You can't do that.
You can't cause harm to people, because then the harm's going to come right back at you. And
it's gotta be kind.
And what we found out, it's 10 times harder.
It's really hard.
Don't harass people.
Don't harass people. Be nice. Be kind.
But you were saying we were coming back.
So yeah, we didn't come in under the radar, and then I had to rush up and check on my dad's cabin because, we thought somebody was up there. Luckily, everything's okay. So it's been crazy.
Hey, but I got yesterday, because I forgot to tell my mom about it, but I told her later. I was outside because my dog was having to go to the vet.
He was all drugged out, man.
Yeah. Vaccines, all that stuff. Anyways, so I'm out there. We're about to go pick him up, and I'm like getting it ready. This bitch has her bark chips in the road, and it's been in the road for months. Like, I'm gonna tell you, like, since the beginning of fucking summer. So it's like, dude, it's like, I want to be a Karen, but it's because it's not in front of her house. It's on the fucking side of her house. Anyways, I'm out there. I notice her. She noticed that I noticed her, and I noticed that she noticed me. She fucking walked away, and I was like, I think you know not to fuck with me. Maybe I just have that, like, look.
She has that aura.
I mean, my best friend's husband says that I give off that. And I was like, I don't try to. I actually...
Well, Juel is the nicest person that you could ever meet until something happens.
Till literally you mess with me or somebody I care about.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, this person messed with my partner, and I love that kid. So don't. And then those little kids, I love children. I mean, I don't personally love those kids because I don't really know them. But anyways, I care about kids deeply. So I don't ever like to hear that kids are upset. So when I heard that, I was like, oh, okay. Adding more to your fucking negativity list. So I just don't like them.
So remember, you never know what people are going through. You don't know what everybody's going through. There's no need to be harassing.
Keep the peace, man.
Keep the peace, man. Let's not create a hostile environment. Don't
bring crime into our neighborhood.
And don't do that. I mean, that was ridiculous. Let us know what you think. Should we have stayed out of it, or should we have protected? Yeah. And let us know what you. We're gonna do a merch, but one coming up here. Mm-hmm. But what is our new saying?
Don't bitch about it. Be about it.
So until next time, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Juel.
Peace.